Hey everyone, it's Ben a League, Matt Killen here. I'm here to show you my General's Cry, Void Forge, Berserker, Consecrated Path build. It's a mouthful, I don't really know what to call it. My character name is PK Fire. I mean, I guess that's what you can call it. But without further ado, let's begin. General's Cry. What is it? When you have corpses on the ground, you can press General's Cry, and you get some homies equal to the power of the corpses that are around you. Basically what you need to know, you'll get 5 dudes when you kill a pack, like, let's say, okay, cool, you just one-shot a pack. You press the button, you're gonna get 5 dudes. This is only 4 dudes, but you'll get 5 dudes, like, most of the time, trust me. You'll get 5 dudes. We'll see it in this map that I'm gonna boot up. But as far as gear goes for this build, all you need is Void Forge. Everything else can be kind of filler for what you want. Added Fizz is always great. I have Herald of Purity here just because this was a cheap ring and I wanted to test it and it had a good implicit for us. More Added Fizz. This is just, you know, a res belt. Fizz. Fizz. With Wed. Fizz. Like, just try and get Added Fizz if you can. It's like super awesome if you can, not the worst thing ever if you can't, and you can always upgrade as you go. Nothing special here. This is literally just a brine crown. It's super cheap. It's super great for entry level helmet stuff. Eventually I'd like to get a minus res or something of the sort, and the rings would eventually be LE weak on hit, but those are running about an Exalt right now, which I have, but I don't want to spend. Void Forge is kind of an expensive sword. It's not as expensive as Star Forge, but it is still up there. It should come down maybe 90, 80 C range, maybe less than that eventually, but you just have to wait for more people to get it as a drop. So you don't have to use this sword. If you don't want to use this sword or you can't afford it, just get a big Fizz sword and you should be fine. Everything else, pretty much whatever. You can kind of play with it. That's this whole idea of a proof of concept build. This is totally incomplete. It's level 74. I'll link the tree below if you do want to try it. The main things to note are these little Warcry notes that are here now. So getting the cooldown of your cry as far down as it can go, obviously a good thing, and the cast time as far down as it can go is obviously a good thing, because when you do Warcry, you have to stop your momentum, right? You can't just keep moving and press the button. You can, but don't. Just accept the cooldown. Warcries don't need to be instant. It's fine. You can basically get them pseudo instant anyway. Big damage wheel here. We go Resolute Technique. 1, because crit gear is expensive. 2, crit gear is expensive. That's all I gotta say about that. Let's load up a map and I'll show you what's going down. But before we go in, I do have to show you one more thing. Infernal Cry, Seismic Cry. Infernal Cry wasn't working as I wanted it to. Like, it works as intended, but for Consecrated Path, it's a travel skill, but it's not like noted as a travel skill, but you're gonna travel when you use Consecrated Path. So you can't. If you Infernal Cry, you have to Consecrated Path in the same spot that you Infernal Cried, and that doesn't make no goddamn sense. So instead, we have Herald of Ash Overkill, we have Herald of Purity, we have Dread Banner, we have Stone Golem. We're going to be in not Sand Stance because we don't need to be in Sand Stance. Always be in Blood Stance. Your AoE is huge anyway. So we decided to settle on Seismic Cry. What's Seismic Cry? Basically, it gives you a bunch of AoE. Let me show you. There's a support here called Fist of War. 142% more damage with hits on ancestrally boosted slams, but that can only occur every 1.91 seconds. But that's okay, because our attack speed is super slow, which is great. You want super slow attack speed. Do not invest into attack speed unless it's like a tertiary part of the node. So if you look, like, we can't not take this because this is physical damage and attack speed. Like, we don't have a choice, right? Again, attack speed and physical damage. Attack speed and physical. We don't have a choice. But these 4 points, it was like 30k DPS or something like that. So kind of a no-brainer for now. The tree is super loosey-goosey. Like, this may not be the best thing. I don't know yet. I'm still trying to figure it out myself. All I know is that I needed Warcry cooldown, Warcry speed, and anything that benefits me. So, and Warcries debilitate enemies. Warcries exert an additional attack. Warcries clear an ailment every time I do it. That's all I needed to know. Some people would argue that you need to take like every Warcry wheel. I don't think you do. I mean, realistically, you probably don't even need to take this. It's just nice for our initial kaboom slam. For this, if you exert this with a seismic cry, with having that wheel that exerts an additional attack, it's always nice. You know, just do some more damage and one shot some packs. But let me go ahead and take us into a map, and I want to show you exactly how you could play this. Post-production Matt Killen here. Totally forgot to show you what Seismic Cry does because my brain is the size of a peanut. So we talked about the Fist of War thing. Cool. That means your Fist of War boosted. When you Seismic Cry, the next 5 attacks are going to have increased AoE, and they stack on top of each other. So let me show you. You see the base AoE here. Cool. Now you Seismic Cry. The next 5 attacks, let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, and finally 5. You see how big the AoE gets? That's very good. We like big AoE. Now, the kicker. If you Seismic Cry and you just hold the button, it's gonna happen on the baby ones, like 3, maybe 4 times, depending on how much attack speed you have. So try to space it out to where you're one-shotting the pack. You summon some guys during the cooldown of Fist of War, and then your Fist of War comes back up, one-shot the next pack, summon more guys, replay the loop. Got it? Cool! Back to the video. And I think there are 2 ways. What you could do is 6-link the General's Cry and use that as your main clear. Or you could 6-link both. I mean, if you have the money, obviously you should 6-link both. But you don't have to, and let me explain why. So let's one-shot this pack right here and miss those guys because they were behind a rock. Let's get some homies. Okay, there's like no density in here. I'm intentionally running Caldera because I want to show you 2 ways to play this build, and the way a Caldera operates is it has the little 2 portals, and then you meet up at the end and you do the actual boss. Also, there are a lot of objects in the way. I'm not going to worry about picking anything up unless it's like an Exalt just for speed's sake. So let's Seismic Cry, let's teleport to that pack, let's make some homies, they'll kill that pack, kill this pack, make some homies, kill this pack. So you can just play it like this if you want to, right? Right-click to some dudes, make some dudes, and the dudes kill the dudes, and then you make more dudes, and then it just kind of loops together. The other way to play this, you desecrate a couple times, you make your guys, you let them do the thing, and then you make more guys, and you let them do the thing. Right? So, triple essence. Let's try this. Let's see what happens. Watch me just die because I don't know what I'm doing. Or we could just 3-shot it. That works too. I don't care about seeds, really. That's just me. So you can kind of see, you have 2 choices. You either let the dudes do all the work, right? Make dudes. They will follow you for a time until they use their skill. Make dudes. Let them do the work. Make dudes. Let them do the work. Make dudes. You can do it this way if you want to. You don't have to have a main link skill, but I think it's kind of dumb because then when you get here, you're like, oh shit, what do I do? Let me make some corpses and keep running around. I mean, it works, but it would have been way faster had I just right-click that boss with my link and use my dudes, right? And you're probably wondering, well, then why the fuck would I do it the first way? I don't know. Maybe you don't want to like do stuff yourself, and you just want to run around in a circle with like Arctic armor on, and I don't know. Maybe you want to do something goofier than I'm doing. But personally, right-click the pack, do your war cry, they clear the next pack. You right-click the next pack, do your war cry, they'll clear the next pack. So it's kind of like a two-for-one deal at McDonald's or whatever, wherever you go eat. I don't eat at McDonald's, so I don't know why I said that. But anyway, you kind of get the point. Seismic Cry, smash a pack in the face, make some dudes. Seismic Cry, smash a pack, make some dudes. Pretty easy loop, right? And you don't have to Seismic Cry every time. Granted, yes, this is a low tier map, but we're level 74, so I can't really show you a tier 16 yet. I am going to take this build to end game because I'm curious. I'm genuinely curious how far you can take the one-shot ability of everything. So here we have a boss without ads for a little bit of time. So what do? We desecrate and then we kill it in 2 seconds because we're level 74 and we can do that. Any questions, class? Okay, just kidding. So the POB link is down below. If you do want to play with General's Cry, I highly recommend it. I think it's great. Ton of stuff you could do here, man. I mean, I've seen people that are bleed stacking with it, with, you know, maybe like a lacerate or a perforate or whatever you want to do. You could get a lot of bleed stacks up really fast. The reason I chose Consecrated Path was because I wanted a good balance of clear and single target. Because most of the time in whenever I play PoE, I usually lack in the single target department because I just love clearing maps as fast as possible. This build's a little slow, as you can see. I mean, we don't run at the speed of light. We're relatively slow, but Consecrated Path sort of makes up for the fact that you are a slow berserker, that you know you're just a fat big boy. You probably want to know what ascendancies I'm taking. I haven't gotten my last trial yet, and I don't like buying trials. So I took Carnage first, then Warbringer, then I'm going to go Crave the Slaughter into Rite of Ruin. Now, I don't know about this part. I genuinely don't know. I might end up doing this, because this gives us almost too much attack speed to where our Fist of War might feel a little weird. Definitely don't need to go here because we're not crit. If you do make this build crit, go this route. This node here is immense amounts of damage. Immense damage. You go here, and your tooltip's going to be like 300 billion damage. But that's if you go crit and you have the money to buy a bunch of crit gear and all that stuff. Keep in mind, this sort's crit chance is super poopy, so you need a lot of crit chance. If you want to get like a Flesh Ripper base with huge fizz, huge crit, go for it, man. More power to you. I'm just here to show you how General's Cry operates with Consecrated Path and Seismic Cry. I said don't do Infernal Cry. You can try it if you want. It's just a little awkward when your skill pushes you forward and the things that you Infernal Cried are usually already dead or behind you, and then you don't get the full effect of Infernal Cry. Enduring Cry is good. Use it. I have a cast no damage taken, a Mortal Call phase run, whatever. Doesn't really matter. Herald of Purity, Herald of Ash, Blood and Sand, Stone Golem. You can use whatever golem you want. You can use a Chaos, you could use Ice if you're crit, you could use Stone if you just want some regen. Hell, you could use Flame Golem if you want. I don't know why you would want to, but you could. I mean, go for it. So I think the battle for Uberlab is either here or here, and I'm like super leaning towards here. The only problem I have with this is attack speed, and this is also attack speed. So things might get a little awkward. I mean, you could just, to counteract the attack speed, to get the Ancestral boost, you could just, you know, walk around, do your thing, walk around, do your thing, and just don't attack in place. And that's kind of how you have to play the skill anyway, because you one-shot everything. I mean, I'm still one-shotting everything so far. The only problem I'm really running into is chaos damage, but everyone runs into that problem eventually. So yeah, that's the build. I hope I gave you some insight as to how the skill works, and you were able to kind of see what was going on. I know it's kind of hard to tell because Consecrated Path is so flashy, but I hope it at least gave you an idea of how General's Cry works and what you could do to sort of manipulate it to give you more bleed stacks or ignite stacks, or, you know, more one-shot ability, clearing, whatever you want to do with it, you can kind of just do it. So if you need the POB link, make sure you download the POB fork. There should be a GitHub for it. I'll try to find it for you. Download at your own risk, you know, blah, blah, blah thing. It's just community made. I don't think you'll have any problems. Most people use it anyway. But you need it for General's Cry tooltip. And I could show you the POB, but there's a lot of numbers and a lot of explaining. So I'll do that when I take this build to the end game. And hopefully that will be soon. Anyway, hope you enjoyed. I am Mad Killin. I make weird builds that a lot of other people don't make because I don't like being meta because I'm a hipster. Cool. See you guys in the next one.